And what I've noticed, not only in my experience, but when I look at what I consider like some of the most spiritually awakened beings in history, you look at their lives, they're very purposeful lives. They very definitely had a direction. They weren't just sitting there kind of going like, I don't know. What do you want to do? I don't know. Nothing matters. Doesn't matter. Everything's God, so whatever. Anything goes. That's not what they're doing. They have very obvious sort of direction. They have intention. We could call that purpose, right? And they're not just sitting there not knowing what to do because all of it's an illusion, right? They may have experienced that perspective, but that's not where they end up being stuck in, right? Jesus had a very purposeful, right? Almost like a life full of destiny, right? The Buddha had a very purposeful, the rest of his life after his awakening, right? So the difference is these aren't purpose and meaning. They can operate from a different level of being than just the ego, right? Which is often trying to sort of fill in the gaps, make itself feel better, and all sorts of things which is relevant. Like if that's where our identity is, fine. Then we want to do whatever makes that was coherent and rich a life as we can have. But even in our spirit, when we're functioning from a completely different order of being, meaning and purpose don't necessarily look conventional necessarily. And yet I would suggest that if we're mature in our realization, at some point an orientation comes to us, right? A direction. And it's often something that's very unambiguous, very, very clear. And so I think it can still operate even without a sort of tight ego identity functioning. And it does operate. And we see it all the time. And if it doesn't, that's a kind of spiritual disease.